What's going on, guys? Noobs here, and well, it's a solemn occasion. Today, January 30th, 2019, marks the closure of the Wii Shop Channel. That's right, yesterday, January 29th, was the last day you could actually make purchases on the Wii Shop, and actually quite a while before that was the last day that you could actually buy Wii points to then make your purchases. But yeah, that's it. That's it. The Wii Shop is closed. Apparently, you can still download your purchases on there. They haven't said when that particular functionality will be taken away, but aside from that, it's done. And well, it was a strange journey that Nintendo took us on with the Wii Shop over the years. So I thought with this video, we could take a little look back and remember the Wii Shop channel. It's worth pointing out here that the closure of the Wii Shop is actually quite significant for Wii U owners because they didn't merge the Wii's store into the Wii U's. You actually had to go through into that Wii mode on the Wii U and then access the shop through there. A lot of things that came to the Wii Shop never made the jump to other stores or are just very hard to come by anywhere else, including a lot of the virtual console games. In any case, over 12 years, the Wii Shop serviced us, maybe not with the best customer service, maybe pretty drab UI, maybe not always the best selection, in fact, frequently quite questionable. But you know what, nevertheless, it was always there to greet us with some top quality, cheerful music. And really, wasn't that the thing about so many of the Wii's features and apps? Just quality menu music, if nothing else. Ultimately, of course, the Wii Shop would be split into three categories, three big sections, right? Virtual Console, WiiWare, and Wii Channels. Now, I already did a whole video looking back on the Wii's channels, so you can check that one out, link in the description. The Virtual Console portion of this whole thing launched with the Wii back on November 19th, 2006. Here are just the launch games for Virtual Console. We had, from the NES, Donkey Kong, Mario Bros., Pinball, Soccer, Solomon's Key, Legend of Zelda, and Wario's Woods. Okay, not the most exciting, but for Super Nintendo, we had F-Zero and SimCity. And by the way, that version of SimCity, very underappreciated. Let me tell you, great version of SimCity on there. And sadly, that one was delisted years ago, so you haven't been able to buy that one for a long time. I got in on the ground floor though, and I got a lot of hours in on that SimCity. But anyways, and then N64, we had Mario 64, and we even had a couple Genesis games, Altered Beast, and the first Sonic. So quite a few games and quite a great diversity of games from different systems on there. And like over time, you know, they added TurboGrafx 16, Master System, Neo Geo, Commodore 64, and even arcade games onto the service. And then later on, they even started doing like Japan-only import games. A little bit of a premium price on those, but that was, for example, how I finally got to play Sin and Punishment for N64. And that was a great one to finally go back and finally play. Over the years, many games were also pulled. All the Commodore 64 games were actually pulled after a few years. Like I mentioned, SimCity for Super Nintendo was pulled. R-Type 3 was pulled. The Street Fighter games for Super Nintendo were pulled. There was a long period where the Donkey Kong Country trilogy of games all disappeared and then came back without explanation. Yeah, back in the good old days, and it's funny because I remember people like on Retronauts complained all the time about how awful Virtual Console was, but little did we know how much worse it could get, because there was a good period there before the launch of WiiWare where you would get like 4 or 5 Virtual Console releases every week. It was awesome. Anyways, not surprising. Virtual Console releases slowed down around 2011, and then in particular 2012. Of course, the Wii U came out in November 2012, but the Neo Geo really stayed strong on the system even into 2013. Neo Geo really kept the service going for a while. I don't know why, but like, I'm not going to complain. Moving on to WiiWare, this part of the Wii Shop launched May 12, 2008. WiiWare is a very strange service. It had a lot of restrictions. Nintendo was not great about working with like small and indie developers back then. They had this crazy 40 megabyte game size limit for the service. So it turned into a real weird service. Nintendo themselves also didn't actually make or even publish that many games for the service, so it became this real, like, and keep in mind, the Wii overall was just a magnet for shovelware, right? Granted, back then, a lot more like low-budget games did get physical releases. This was before and kind of during the explosion of like cheap cash-in mobile games, right? But like, the Wii Shop was kind of the prototype for those kind of games in some regard. Anyways, let's go through this. So yeah, North America, the service launched May 12, 2008. Notable launch games included Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, My Life as a King, and Lost Winds. Other than that, notable games from over the lifetime of the service, like you had the Strong Bad episodic games, the art style games, World of Goo, Tetris Party, I think the best way to play Tetris, maybe the only way to play Tetris on the Wii, Mega Man 9, of course, the Bit Trip games started on WiiWare, the Final Fantasy IV sequel, Art of Balance, Konami's Rebirth games, Gradius Rebirth, Contra Rebirth, and Castlevania The Adventure Rebirth. I actually picked up Contra and Castlevania right here at the end with my last $20. I always heard good things about Castlevania The Adventure Rebirth, so finally going to check that one out, getting in just under the wire. But yeah, like I said, the service was home to so much just weird, bad stuff. And sometimes that was like fun. That was part of the entertainment. You know, I experienced games like Enjoy Your Massage and Onslaught, which was like I don't know how you fit like a polygonal 3D FPS into 40 megabytes. They found a way, not necessarily a good way, but they found a way. There were Club Nintendo exclusives, Doc Lewis's Punch-Out, and Grill Off with Ultra Hand, which I have. It was a reward from Club Nintendo, and I don't think I've ever opened it, so maybe I should check that one out as well. Notably, the WiiWare service did not include Super Meat Boy, even though it's my understanding that the game was originally developed with WiiWare in mind, but ultimately they couldn't release it on the system because that 40 megabyte game size file limit. So it ended up being an XBLA exclusive, I believe, when it launched. So yeah, over the years, you know, the Virtual Console in particular started with such promise, right? And it was just always so frustrating and heartbreaking to deal with the, well, to begin, it was a slow trickle of releases to begin with, but that release, that trickle slowed and slowed over the lifetime of the Wii. Very frustrating as somebody who just wants to buy retro games and play them on a current Nintendo system. Well, it was always very frustrating, but in retrospect, we had no idea how bad it could get, right? I mean, there are so many of the Virtual Console games on the Wii Virtual Console that never made the jump to the Wii U Virtual Console. As well, there were many WiiWare games that were difficult to find elsewhere, if ever released anywhere else at all. But anyways, yeah, we're not just like being nostalgic for this weird old service today. Like, it's sad because we're actually losing access to a lot of great, weird games, right? The Wii U's Virtual Console started out real slow, and the releases stayed slow. and it never got built up to what the Wii's Virtual Console was. 3DS's was separate from the Wii U's again, and even worse. And here we are on the Switch, suffering through the slow re-releases of NES games yet again. So there it is, folks, the old original Wii Classic Controller. Strap it on your Wiimote, of course, and well, you could play the NES games with just the Wiimote sideways. Not the most comfortable thing to hold, but you know, you pick one of these up back at launch, get yourself some SimCity or some F-Zero, and man, you are having yourself a time, let me tell you. So a couple of these were good friends to me back in the old days, early days of the Wii. And yeah, how I played a lot of those old Virtual Console games. Anyways, guys, let me know your favorite Wii Shop memories, whether they be certain channels that were on there, WiiWare games, or Virtual Console, either specific games or the whole service. Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.